Hey, good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. This is Sean with BlueRidgeSilverhound. And you guessed it, we got a pocket change market report for you guys. Yeah, pretty fantastic list we got going on today. Of course, if this is your first time here, we talk about some of the most relevant errors and varieties. Ungraded, might I add. You don't have to grade a lot of these coins that you find going through maybe pocket change, bank rolls. That's a popular thing these days. In addition, if you like to cherry pick the local coin shops or shows for some of these errors and varieties, that's also another way to add to your collection. If not, supplement your income. When you find them, you sell them, and then you repeat, rinse, add sugar, and all that great stuff. Yeah, I don't know what that was, but it's an exciting practice that a lot of coin folks like to kind of dig their fingers into. I know I do. That's for sure. But you'll see again that none of the coins on today's list from these eBayers are graded, and the big reason why is it's quite pricey to grade your coins, especially to achieve an error or variety attribution. It can be as high as $100 total by the time you factor in the base submission fee and then the pricey error attribution. Now, I'm probably talking more along the lines of PCGS grading than anything else, but it's not cheap. Why spend that extra $30 to $100 to grade something like this when, the coin is still worth $10, when it's still worth 20, 30, 50? You get the big idea. Sometimes grading doesn't really play a whole lot into the overall appreciation of a coin, even if it's in that plastic slab. So something to keep in mind. You don't have to grade anything. The world's better that way. You get to save some of your money and you get to make more money. Furthermore, the market going into the beginning of the year has never been stronger. I think there's more emphasis on some of the lower kind of tier errors and varieties, and it's making itself more apparent, especially when things like curved clips and laminations, for example, have been steadily creeping up. Now, I mean steadily. We're not talking like big percentage gains here. If we're talking like a 5% bump every month of the overall valuation, that all stacks up over time. A lamination 2 years ago, you could barely get rid of for $1, but now people are paying upwards of $8 to $10 plus for lamination errors. So that's something to keep in mind. The price is still low, but you're beginning to see these gains over time. And it's all relevant, especially when you're dealing with like smaller cap type of errors that you do come across. They all mean something where you could sell them for $5 to $10 a piece, and you sell, say, 10 to 20 of them a week. Yeah, it's kind of a big deal. And it's a good way, again, to supplement your income when you look at it from that perspective. All right, so we're going to jump right in. Again, all of the eBay images are raw to that seller's credit. You're going to see the best and worst of these images. Some are quite out of focus, and then some are sharp as a tack. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Starting out with this gorgeous beauty here. This is a 1999 D Denver Mint, all of a sudden getting some love. Here, starting out the PCMR, this is a Georgia statehood quarter. As you can see, it's struck off center by about 10%. But most importantly, take a look at the condition of the coin. This is something that was not found new, right? This was not found in a brand new sealed bank bag or a bankroll back in 1999. No, this coin circulated quite a bit before it was eventually found. This one ended up selling for $10.40. Yeah, the grade kind of kept it at a low point because statehood errors are quite significant these days, and people are collecting them by date. All right, so without having to wait too much longer, two brand new 2022 coins are gaining some attention. This one is quite interesting. This is a lot of 3 2022 Maya Angelou brand new American women quarters. Again, these are all Philadelphia minted coins, but yeah, even the finest details have been uncovered by a lot of just eagle-eyed, kind of hunters out there, and I love this a lot. Being able to recognize some of these things as they come out. That's what it's all about. Now, we have 75 cents worth of coins here in this particular lot, but, this particular seller ended up finding a few rather minor little die chips. On all three examples, they have that die chip in between the O and D and God, so it's kind of like a connector. In addition, there's also another die chip right here in the ponytail of Mr. Washington. Love it or hate it, this is a great opportunity for you guys to cash in, and this seller did, selling all three coins to the tune of $35, and it was not a fixed price listing. This was bid up through 20 bids to this point, which proves again that, errors are a very well collected aspect of U.S. coins, and when they show up on brand new coins, people do tend to take notice, and they will battle it out in some sort of auction format. In this case, $35 for 75 cents worth of quarters is a pretty good flip. All right, the next one that we have here, yes, this one is out of focus. How about a 1998 Lincoln Memorial set? We're going to go ahead and do a little bit of a market check-in on the wide AM coins. Now, this one is suffering from some corrosion. You can see that on the reverse there in the Memorial. Not a beautiful looking coin, but, just because it has this damage or that corrosion on there, is it a coin that you should unequivocally throw out? Well, no. This one right here is the wide AM. You got that pretty substantial space between the A and M in America. This is the one you're going to want to look for. The normal version will have the A and M touching at the very base there. But this one right here, how much did it sell for? How about a $10 bill? That's not bad, considering its condition. The answer to that question is no. Do not toss these back. Save them, sell them if you don't like them, and then make a few bucks in the process. Now this one right here, kind of, I don't know. It's a stumper for sure. I mean, at first glance, it's a very weakly struck 2021 Lincoln cent. One thing to keep in mind, it is a Denver. There is a partial mint mark right under there, whereas I believe the seller maybe was not aware of that and was trying to sell it as a Philadelphia, but no, this is a Denver minted coin. Now, the assessment from the seller might actually be true, a die adjustment strike, and a few people have discovered brand new 2020 and 21 Lincoln cents and have got them graded as die adjustment strikes. This one, I think the assessment's pretty correct here, only because the rims are so weakly pronounced on here. I do see what is the pre-struck upset rims. They also call it the Type 2 rims. But yeah, this one has all the hallmarks of what could be a die adjustment strike. You have the typical weakness on both sides of the coin, so that's also important as well. Whereas on general struck through grease examples, you might just see that on one side. So this one, yeah, I would say pretty close. I'll reserve my right to say it is a die adjustment strike unequivocally, unless a error specialist like Joe Cronin takes a look at it. But yeah, pretty nice example here. Ended up selling for $34.80. Yeah, what do you know? More 2022 coins really, really hitting it rich. And this is another example of a coin that you guys should look for. And guess what? It's a Denver. So don't overlook those pitiful little Denver coins that doesn't have a whole lot going for them, because this is a great example of one that can make you a few dollars. Now here's one of my favorite varieties, and it's quite common. This is something that you could find with very minimal effort. This is a 1963D Lincoln Memorial cent. This is the doubled die obverse. It is a cherry picker's guide variety, also known as the FS101 in that book. But this one right here, what are we looking for? All right, so you're going to get this extra spike here in the middle of the bottom curl of the 3, which is essentially just a doubled 3 that is shifted a little bit south. I forgot what the actual class of this double die is, but yeah, this little spike is actually the spike of this 3 right here. All right, so it's struck twice, and beautiful, beautiful example. Even in some of the lower grades, this one kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. But again, if you're into this hobby the way that I am, having a magnifier is going to be an important tool in your arsenal. If you don't have one, go ahead and check my Amazon listings down below. I do get paid a small premium, a small little commission off of selling those items. Not a lot. I can't retire yet, mind you, but this is just a great variety, and yeah, you certainly want to double check with a magnifier with that extra spike right there at the bottom curl of the 3. This one ended up selling for $10.50 with 3 bids. Not too bad considering its non-rarity. It's not really a rare coin, and its condition. Well, this is a 72. Jim had posted another beautiful double-to-die obverse. This is the FS103. There are a multitude of various double-to-dies to look for in 1972 in both Philadelphia and Denver minted types. And this one is quite nice. Some of the close-ups that Jim has provided on his listings are simply fantastic. The date shows probably the least spectacular doubling, but you do have the notching on the top left of all the digits. The 9 is going to look and appear a little bit stretched out, which is exactly what you're looking for. But take a look at Liberty. There's some pretty evident doubling right there. You can see it clearly in the L, B, and E. The I is a little bit elongated. So, yeah, very nice. But a lot of your bread and butter type of doubling is going to be in the motto, "In God We Trust." As you can see right here, lots of great spread. Just a phenomenal coin. And this coin is in really good shape. It is a mint state example. Not a super high-end one, but if you're looking for one just to add to your collection, this would be a great example. This one sold for $38.90. Now here's one that I've talked about on a few occasions, but let's go ahead and revisit it because it's a coin that did sell here in the last day or two. This is a 2020p Jefferson nickel, and as you could tell on the reverse, there's something going on there. This is actually a struck through debris error, so that is actually a byproduct of some sort of gob of grease combined with some little pieces of, I don't know, maybe metal shavings in there and various other things, dirt, dust, you name it. So that piece of grease had hardened with all this material in there, and when it's sitting on the die and it strikes coins, it's going to leave quite a bit of a void on there. This one has it right across Monticello. You can see it right there plainly. And these tend to come up on 2020 Philadelphia coins. Most specifically the nickels, of course, but you can find them across various denominations. This one ended up selling for $19.99, which is a really good amount of money. Just a little word of note, this was a fixed price buy it now listing on this one, so not too bad of a sale here. That's a pretty good return on this. All right, so I love cherry picking old silver in any form. This is a 1934D peace dollar. Now, this is one of my favorite dates because it has probably one of the most radical doubled dies that you could come across. They're not particularly rare. With enough searching, you can find one pretty easily, but you'll notice right here on Liberty's crown, you'll see the doubled rays on there, which is quite cool. I call them rays, but they're just the spikes of the crown. You can see them right here on these few sets. In addition, this is also a well-known VAM. This is what they call the medium D DDO. It is referred to as the VAM 3, and it is also a top 50 VAM as well. Pretty phenomenal. The coin, however, appears to have been cleaned, so it does have some sort of condition issues. This one ended up selling for a pretty good amount of money, $72.50. I can imagine that this coin was probably originally purchased for somewhere under $30. Probably pretty close to melt value, but all in all, just a good one to look out for. Excuse me. Up next, we have a 1982 Lincoln Memorial set. Now, this appears to be a bronze composition coin. It is, in fact, a small date, but as you can tell on the front of the coin, it appears to be just slightly off-center. We just have a really mild version of misaligned dies, so that that obverse hammer die was a little bit rattly when it was making this strike, and therefore it appears to be off center. But if you look at the back of the coin, it's perfectly centered. So that's how you're going to differentiate a off center strike between a misaligned die, is when you have one side of the coin that is way off center or completely off center, or maybe just a little bit off center, but the back is completely centered. This one ended up selling for quite a staggering amount at $20.49. Again, it's a very minor example of misaligned dies. Here's everybody's favorite coin. I mean, it's a coin I love cherry picking myself. 1943 Lincoln Steely. Zinc coated steel cents were all the rage, and they still are today. This one's in pretty decent shape, although it does have some oxidation buildup in certain areas and carbon spotting. A lot of great stuff to find, from varieties to errors. This one, of course, on the error side, with a few notable die cracks. I found quite a few of these myself, the same progression on both the obverse and the reverse of the coin. So you'll see that pronounced long die crack that kind of makes a 90-degree angle to the right at the base of Lincoln's bust. And then on the reverse, you do have the prototypical die cracking and chips right there on the wheat stalks. Eventually, a few of these will end up as full-blown die break cuts. I've seen quite a few of them, and actually we have one on the list today. But this is a pretty good early progression style of this type. This one ended up selling for $10.44 with 3 bids, so there's some value here. Alright, so here's a pretty cool Indiana statehood quarter, albeit it does have a few issues I will point out, but this one has 2 curved clips. You can see one there around K12 and another one at K9-ish, somewhere around there. On the obverse, so you got one there and there, and then you also have the Blakesley effects in the opposite sides of those clips, so that's worth mentioning. But on the reverse, you'll notice that it was at one point a roll ender, because it's got this this crappy ring of death is what we call it, and that's just the little crimper finger when they crimp the rolls for these for the banks. It scrapes along the top coin on the end of the roll, so that's unfortunate. Although it still did sell to the tune of $18.80. The coin has circulated quite a bit. Well, nothing major here. A 1998 Lincoln Memorial Cent is a pretty common date for this type of error, but this one's off-center by about 10%, pretty close to being a broad strike, almost a broad strike. This one sold for $12.99. And also 99 here as well. Again, this is another common date, so anything between 98 and 2001 for off-center strikes are quite common. Here's a really nice one. If needed for a date set, you better believe that a few bidders will actively engage in a little mini bid war for this one. This one ended up selling for $25.02 with 11 bids. Our first piece of currency is actually a more modern dated piece. This is a pre-colorized era large head $5 bill, 2006 series. So this one circulated and was produced for a few years. This one right here has a little bit of a misaligned third print, so you can see the serial numbers and the district seals are shifted upward a little bit. Where the top of the district seal is actually overlapping United States of America by a little sliver. But again, it's minor enough that it has circulated a good deal. You can just tell all the various circulation stress that this one's been through with the folding marks and all that stuff. The reverse of the note, again, further showing some of that circulation. yeah, this one kind of shocked me a little bit because it ended up selling for $72.18 with 28 bits. You know, it's that's kind of a big deal given the appearance of the misalignment. It's not major, but you know, again, it's easy to miss. Oh, all right. Well, here's a good cut. Further proving once again that cuds are king. This poor beat up 1967 Lincoln Memorial cent has all sorts of road rash going on the reverse of the coin. I could almost imagine my heart dropping out of my chest finding one of these in the parking lot because that's what happened. Something happened where this one got all beat up like this. But you guys do see the obverse cud die break right over the motto. Some would even say they call this a godless cud, which is a thing. So when a die break covers the word God, that's kind of its namesake it gets. This one, wow, $54.50. And when I say cuds are king, this further proves it because a coin could look like it was beat up to a pulp, and it would still command over $50 at the market. Currently, is just insane to me. Speaking of beat up, here's a 1980 Lincoln. Yeah, this one's in rough shape too, but someone did find a pretty neat variety. This is the doubled die obverse FS101. And yeah, it's got all sorts of pinning and all sorts of other damage on there. This one ended up selling for $38.90. And here's a 1992 Lincoln Memorial. Yeah, Lincolns are hot this week. Lots and lots of listings. People are searching their Lincoln pennies, but this is a coin with a broadstrike error. The collar that actually holds the coin in during the strike was absent at this point, so the metal flow has to go outwards, and that's why this coin is probably about the size of a nickel, if not larger. All that metal flow goes outwards, and this is just a decent kind of centered broad strike error. You do have a lot of exposed zinc on this one. Certain areas, like right here above Liberty, has begun to erode, which is commonplace. And a little bit of moisture will take care of that. Not in a good way, but it accelerates the corrosion process of these coins. This one ended up selling for $25.45. It's not a date that you see too often show up on eBay. Here's a 1909 Lincoln cent. The wheatback style is missing the VDB initial, so I would say it's nothing like super spectacular, but hey, it's struck on a defective planchet. You could see that right there on the obverse. This coin, or the planchet rather, was really not in good shape. But when it was struck, this is kind of like the end result here. Now, this coin has circulated quite a bit, speculating that a lot of people did pass over it as being damaged, okay, which is a pretty common thing, you know, even to this day. This one is sold for $19.99. Yeah, I would trade this in for a $20 bill all day long. Now here's one of those steel cents, a 43, with a cud. As expected, this one right here was found in what I would consider to be a little hoard of these, because the much nicer examples are saved. This one is oxidized and circulated by quite a bit, but you can see that cud right here at the base of Lincoln's bust, which is a very common area for die break cuds of this type on this date. This one sold for $33.99 with 6 bids. Here's a really nice premium dated 1970D Lincoln, off center by, I would say, 65%. Exemplifies really nice quality. Kind of hard to say if this is damage right here, this little kind of like curvy wave deal going on here, but I would say that, you know, it may not be as well. All right. When these things are off center struck, a lot of things can happen during the minting process. But yeah, a really cool early example. Not a date that you see that often. This one sold for $37.99. And it's a really good looking coin too. Eye appeal wise, it's got some mint red in the protected areas, and you know that means a lot to some collectors. All right, so here's one of those laminations that have stirred up a little bit of a premium. And, you know, this is a 43p silver wartime nickel. You could see all sorts of stuff going on the obverse, but boy, did this coin have a life. Lots of circulation wear. It's not a premium grade example, but, you know, the lamination, D-lam, rather, because it's not attached anymore. Certainly shows. It even shows a little bit of damage. Like this might be a scratch right here. Kind of hard to tell. This one sold for $12. So, you know, if you pick this up for like $1.65 or whatever the melt value is of these silver war nickels, you know, you could turn a pretty nice 8 to 10x profit on these. Now this one's really cool, 2017p, and I forgot that this one existed, but at first glance, you know, the coin looks like it doesn't have a whole lot going for it, other than maybe a little bit of a weakness here on the reverse, right above states of. So some would say, oh yeah, that's probably a little bit of a struck through grease issue. But if you look close enough, and this seems to be a very common problem on 2017 Philadelphia shield cents, all sorts of cracks and various interior die breaks are happening on these. This one has a really nice crack that goes from the rim and into Lincoln's bust. So here's the date and mint mark, but you can see that it's formed a pretty nice substantial interior die break, which is fully markered, and you know, the perimeter of it is fully known right there, which is pretty cool. This one is also in really nice shape. This one sold for $15.50 with 8 bids. If you have the opportunity, for you folks on the East Coast, double check those 17s. There's a lot to find there on the error side of things. Now, this was my listing, 1956 D over D Lincoln. This is a repunched mint mark. So this was actually photos I captured on my iPhone. Yes, you can achieve quality like this, and I did not use a magnifier of any sort. I didn't use a USB scope. You know, this is just the photos I took with my iPhone, with indirect lighting, which is always important. But this was actually a pretty decent sale for me. It's a very notable cherry picker's guide variety. Was the FS501 is what it is. But yeah, up close. By the way, I took this picture again without the aid of a magnifier using my iPhone. But yeah, you can see that secondary D mint mark is west of the primary. This is a big one. It's one of the most dramatic repunchment marks of the series, and it's always going to be popular. This one ended up selling for $31, which is actually a pretty good amount of money with 18 bids. I've sold one other one and it ended up selling for like $15, but it wasn't nearly as nice as this one, which I would say is probably like an AU 53 brown. Nothing that screams like high quality, but you know, it is the coin that I've sold on my bucket list of other coins yet to come. So pretty good sale here. And here's a 1983 Lincoln Memorial cent that is off center by about 45%. Again, not a date that you see too often, so when one of these do pop up, you're going to get your I guess off center error collectors that are collecting by date jumping in to try and put a bid in this. This one sold for $14.50 with 12 bids. Again, you do have the exposed zinc core, which is quite common on any broadstrike or off-center strike Zinken era coin. All right, so this is a coin that is officially, I guess, thrusted itself into record territory. This is the most expensive sale of this occurrence, the 2021 Lincoln Shield cent with just the crack. This is the what they call stage one in the community. Stage one, very early progression of what is going to be a pretty amazing retained die break coin. And this one beat out my record, which was like $365. This one ended up selling, get this, $400 with 28 bids. So this is the official new kind of like benchmark for this coin. And I remember when these things were selling for $100 to $127. Well, the game has officially changed because this one right here is has jumped up probably 3.5x, surprisingly, but also there are less of them out in the marketplace, and me personally, with my collection of them, I don't have any more to sell on eBay for a while. So, yeah, we might see these dry up quite a bit more. Well, we'll see. Although I did put my feelers out there for everyone to continue to check your 2021 Lincoln Cent boxes because these are phenomenal, and they're, believe it or not, a great source of income when you need it. So this is a great sale right here. Now here's a off-center struck Washington quarter, and it's crazy. It doesn't have a date or anything, so it's not as spectacular. But you do have most letters and Liberty, and it's a uniface strike because you don't have anything on the reverse there in that off-center strike area. It's off-center struck by 80%, maybe a little bit more. But yeah, that reverse image, man, it's kind of crazy. You do okay on the obverse, but you can't manage to get the whole coin within the frame of a picture. It's just mind-boggling to me. So this is more of a, when you're taking pictures, make sure the whole coin shows up in your image. Because you never know when there's going to be like a hidden scratch or something that the buyer needs to know about. The last thing you would need is a chargeback or a return. It's just not fun. This one right here sold for $18.36 through 7 bids. And here's also a 1989P, I believe from the same seller. So they actually did this one right and got the full obverse reverse image of the coin. Yeah, this one's double struck. The secondary strike is about 90% off center. You do have a full date and mintmark, which that matters for these coins and its collector base. This one sold for $43.09 with 11 bids, so that's pretty good for a dime. Now this one's really cool. This one has multiple events going on here. This is another double struck Lincoln Memorial. 1988 is what we're looking at here. The coin is in phenomenal shape. It's full red and all that. But what else do you guys see? I'll give you guys a second to kind of check out the obverse. Yeah, we have multiple die clashes on this one. You can just say there's probably like 3 different clash events on there. Stunning is all I could say about this coin. And, at first glance, I'm like, why did this one sell for so much? I mean, it's a double struck, but it's a Zinken era coin. And then I looked up close. I'm like, oh, yeah, that changes the game quite a bit. Now, a die clash on its own will add probably about a $10 to $20 premium on any Lincoln cent. But however, this one, because it's double struck and the die clashing, it's multiple die clashes on there, is just phenomenal. And because of that, this one ended up selling for $93.09 through 22 bids. Outclassing the Roosevelt dime that we saw previously. By the way, they're both from the same seller. We got a couple more coins left. How about another 2021 Lincoln Shield cent? This one has a few strike-throughs, much like that nickel that we saw earlier in the show. This time, it's going through the date, and another one that's coming out of like Lincoln's mouth. Like he's spitting or something. He's spitting up some mad game here with these coins from the last year. I could understand why this coin even exists because of that. But yeah, another good one to look out for. Man, you guys on the East Coast have it good. This one right here sold for $26.57 with 16 freaking bids. Oh my God. It's a madness right now. Okay, this one doesn't have a date, but we know what this one is. The composition is a dead giveaway. 1943 Steely, off-center struck. Oh, I would say 55%, somewhere around there. This one sold for $304.65 with only 2 bids. So 2 people duked it out and, they went all in, I guess. Simultaneously, this is like one of those coins that had like a 99-cent start, and then, only two people bid with like 5 seconds remaining. It went from $1 all the way up to $300. I've seen that before. That's a world that we live in. When eBay exists, I wish eBay was around in the 80s and 90s, like early 90s. I would just have a field day with this stuff. Oh boy, and then finally, we're going to end it off on a $1 bill. Yeah, take a look at the serial numbers, and you'll see what's going on here. This is a 1969 series $1 bill. Yeah, we got some mismatched serial numbers on the same bill. So, we have one serial number that starts at 67, and then we have another one that starts at 68. Yeah, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see what's going on here with this one, but the big reason why I put this one on here, other than the fact that it sold for $350 as a buy it now listing, there have been folks that have been finding mismatched serial numbers on brand new $20 bill Fed Reserve notes. So, something to keep in mind. Brand new, 2017 series $20 bills with mismatched serial numbers. A few of them have been discovered. So I wanted to bring a little bit of that awareness up to your front door. Guys, it's Saturday. Hopefully you got some stuff. Oh, there's the back of the note, by the way. Hopefully you guys have some good stuff happening today where you get front and center in front of a collection. And just have fun, Go ahead, go to the bank, get yourself a few rolls, or get yourself a box and really enjoy the hobby. When you enjoy the hobby, the money will come. All right, that's going to go ahead and do it. It sure was a pleasure talking about the PCMR with you on a Saturday morning. You guys take care. Have a great weekend. And I'll see you on the next coin video. Happy hunting, folks.